Today, our office, the U.S. Attorney's Office here for the Northern District of Illinois, filed a one-count criminal information in district court here in Chicago, charging Commonwealth Edison Company with bribery involving a high-level state of Illinois elected official identified as Public Official A. ComEd has agreed to resolve that charge pursuant to a deferred prosecution agreement. Under that agreement, ComEd has made several admissions regarding the bribery allegations in the information, which I'll talk about a bit more in a few minutes. ComEd has also agreed to pay a $200 million fine, which I understand to be the largest fine in the history of this district, criminal fine, to cooperate with our office's ongoing corruption investigation and to make substantial enhancements to its corporate compliance program. It's important to note that under the agreement, ComEd may not seek to recover any portion of the $200 million fine through customer surcharges or fees. ComEd also cannot take a tax deduction in connection with that fine. Under that agreement, the government has agreed to defer the prosecution on the bribery charge for 3 years and then seek to dismiss that charge if ComEd abides by the conditions and the obligations set forth in the agreement, which include continuing to cooperate with ongoing investigations of individuals and other entities related to the conduct described in the bribery charge, and continuing its efforts to enhance its compliance program and to provide annual reporting to the government regarding the implementation of its compliance measures. If ComEd fails to completely perform or fulfill each of its obligations under the agreement during this 3-year term, our office can then initiate a prosecution of the charged offense. ComEd has acknowledged that in an effort to influence and reward Public Official A's efforts to assist ComEd with respect to legislation concerning ComEd and its business, ComEd arranged for various associates of Public Official A, including political allies and individuals who perform political work for Public Official A, like precinct captains in his ward, to obtain jobs, vendor subcontracts, and monetary payments associated with those jobs and subcontracts from ComEd, even in instances where these political allies and workers did little to no work that they were purportedly hired to perform for ComEd. ComEd admitted that its efforts to influence and reward Public Official A began in or around 2011 and continued through in or around 2019. During that time, the Illinois General Assembly considered bills and passed legislation that had a substantial impact on ComEd's operations and profitability, including legislation that affected the regulatory process used to determine the electricity rates ComEd charged its customers. Public Official A controlled what measures were called for a vote in the Illinois House of Representatives and also exerted substantial influence over fellow lawmakers concerning legislation affecting ComEd. In addition to these jobs and contracts, ComEd further admitted that it undertook efforts to influence and reward Public Official A, including by appointing an individual to ComEd's board of directors at the request of Public Official A, retaining a law firm at the request of Public Official A, and accepting into the company's internship program a certain amount of students who resided in the Chicago ward where Public Official A was associated.
Our country's economic system is based on free trade, competition, and fairness. It's what makes our country great, and it's why people all around the world still call the United States the land of opportunity. But it only works when we are all playing by the same rules. When one company decides to play by their own set of rules and circumvent the laws of the country, it upsets the balance of fairness and must be checked before corruption becomes the accepted law of the land. ComEd's actions, described in their admission of guilt, represent an intentional and premeditated effort to undermine the process of fair and open competition. They must be held accountable. By resorting to bribery and conspiring with a trusted public official, ComEd not only let down its employees, but also its customers. Unfortunately, both will now suffer the consequences of the steep penalty leveraged against the company today.